Good evening, everyone, and welcome into episode 17 of the Forge Podcast, brought to you by Shotgun Sports Network Alabama of the Shotgun Sports Network. My name is Ryan Messer, and guys, we've got a lot to get into. The Birmingham Legion finished off their season this past Saturday, and then the Birmingham Bulls season is in full swing. And then we have started camp for the Birmingham Squadron. And then we also have some transactions and some news from the Birmingham Stallions and the UFL as a whole. So we want to also thank you guys for watching before we get too far. Whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, Audible, iHeart, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you guys for continuously watching us wherever it may be from, because we see the guys that are outside of the United States, outside of the state of Alabama, and outside the United States. So thank you guys for continuously watching. And if you like what you see, share it with your friends and family that they may know that we actually have commentary on pro sports here in the state and city of Birmingham. It's not just collegiate. I know collegiate sports is the main thing, especially college football, but around this area. But there is commentary strictly focused on pro sports here in the city. So, if you like what you see, make sure you like it, share it, and let everybody know that there is commentary there. And if you don't like what you see, if you want to see something more of something, let us know in the comments or shoot us a DM, whatever it may be. Just get in touch with us. We have all kinds of ways of contact there. But we also have to say thank you to our sponsor, Blue Spring Living Water. They are continuously supporting us here, and they want to support you as well in your health. Because, guys, that water is naturally, minerally enriched water that is sourced right here in the state of Alabama, right up the road in Blount County. And it's one of the only places where it is bottled at the same place it is sourced. Because you don't want to think about the water that is transported and how it's transported and all of that. And too many ways of it getting contaminated, all of that. You don't want to think about that. Get the water right where it's sourced, where it's bottled right where it's sourced. So take a step toward a healthier life with Blue Spring Living Water. And with that, this is episode 17 of the Forge Podcast. We're going to start things off with the Birmingham Legion, who had their season finale this past Saturday over on the West Coast, over in Oakland, facing the Roots SC. Going into the match, the Legion knew their fate as they were eliminated from playoff contention earlier in the week. But that did not stop them from trying to finish the season strong. There was a little shakeup in the starting 11 due to an illness, but they still wanted to end the season with a high note. So both teams wound up coming out hot, but Birmingham wound up striking first with Tabor Tataka finding the back of the net in the 21st minute. And after that first goal, that gave Birmingham a lot of momentum by striking often toward their offensive goal. But then in the 31st minute, the Legion struck yet again, this time with Stefano Pino hitting the net, the back of the net there. Then with less than 5 minutes later, Nwigba wound up getting the third goal of the evening with a header straight to center net. And then just before halftime, Tabor Tataka found himself scoring yet again for the fourth goal of the game. But then going into the half, it seemed like the second half, it seemed like the Legion was a little bit more focused on defense and protecting their lead, but that must have worked because they did not give up a single goal all evening. but then they actually wound up scoring yet again as Enzo Martinez wound up finding the net in the 87th minute. But like I said, the Legion knew what they were getting into in this match. They were facing a playoff team, but they wanted to end the season with a high note. So great to see these guys have some grit there and finish the season out strong. But they wound up finishing 13, 15, and 6 and 9th place in the Eastern Conference. But we will continue to monitor in the offseason like we do with all the teams to keep you up to date on all the news and transactions as they relate to the Birmingham Legion all the way up to kickoff for the 2025 season. Switching things over to the Birmingham Bulls, where they are in full swing for their 2024-2025 season. Friday night, the Bulls hosted the Evansville Thunderbolts at the Pelham Civic Complex and started with Cole CC in the net for the Thunderbolts and Stewie in the net for the Bulls. But it did not take long for the Bulls to strike first, as Carson Rose wound up scoring just a minute and 33 seconds into the game. It's obvious to see why that guy was the league's leading scorer last season. That guy just knows how to find the net. But that lead did not last long, but because Evansville wound up scoring with just 44 seconds later, and the Bulls went on the power play with just less than 8 minutes left in the first period. Evansville had a major advantage in shots on goal going into first intermission, so it was good that we only scored that they were able to score a single goal. Stewie really is one of the best goaltenders in the league, so great showing there for him. But coming out of intermission, the Bulls came out hot, shooting often, but unfortunately the Thunderbolts went into a 4-on-5 man advantage power play as McGregor, Sinclair, and Evansville's players were put in for roughing, and then Ledzianku found himself in the box for high sticking. Ledzianku, sorry. But just 37 seconds after both teams regained full strength, Michael Gillespie wound up putting the puck in the back of the net. But then less than 5 minutes before the second intermission, we saw Kyler Matthews get into a brawl with Bronson Adams of the Thunderbolts. Then, with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the period, the Bulls went on a power play for an Evansville interference. With just over 2 minutes and into the third period, Kyler Matthews found himself in the box again, this time with Matthew Hobbs, who wound up instigating a fight with him there, which cost his team an additional penalty for instigation there for 2 minutes. But as the Bulls' power play expired, we saw Nikita Kazarev put the puck in the back of the net there. It was literally as soon as they were regaining full strength there. But just over halfway through the final period, Troy McTavish found himself in the box for roughing with two Evansville players, sending the Bulls on a 4-on-5 man power play. With just under 4 minutes to go in regulation, McGregor Sinclair found himself in the box for a trip. But then just after that, the Thunderbolts pulled their goal. Just after the Thunderbolts pulled their goalie in the final 2 minutes of the regulation, the Bulls went back on the power play for a slash. But great game all around for the Bulls as they got ready to head to the beaches of Pensacola. And on Saturday, the Bulls took on the Ice Flyers there in Pensacola. And we saw Kevin Rezop in the net for Pensacola and Stewie in for the Bulls. But both teams came out fighting, literally, as we watched Jamie Dorsey brawl with Taylor Adams of the Ice Flyers just a couple minutes into the game. But before the fighting, penalties were up. The Bulls went on a power play for a slash. Then, with just over halfway through the first period, the Ice Flyers wound up scoring a shorthanded goal. But their lead did not last long as Kyler Matthews wound up leveling the scoreboard with just less than 2 minutes later. Then, just after the tying goal, we saw Ben Higgins and C.J. Hayes drop gloves. And in the second period, we saw Carson Rose put the puck in the back of the net just before the 4-minute mark. Seconds later, we saw Jamie Dorsey finding himself in the box for a hook. Then Carson Rose scored once again 8 minutes and 40 seconds into the second period. Then we saw McGregor St. Clair put the puck in the back of the net with just over 3 minutes to go in the period there as well. And then on the opening face-off of the final period, both Matt Clark and C.J. Hayes wound up committing holds, but Hayes got an additional 10 minutes for a misconduct penalty. So, just insane stuff there. But just under 6 minutes in, the former Bull Matt Weiser wound up getting a shorthanded goal there. Then just over 2 minutes after he scored, Weiser wound up committing a hold, putting his former team on the power play. Pensacola wound up pulling the goalie just over 2 minutes to go in the game, and Colton Olnick was able to get the empty net goal and seal it for Birmingham with just a minute after they pulled. Right now, they are playing great hockey right now. I know it's early to make any assumptions, but they're scoring often. So we were the highest scoring team in the league last season, and looks like we're headed that way as well. But as for the standings right now, we are in second place, just behind Huntsville, who is in first place, who is only ahead because of their tiebreaker where they won in overtime for the first game of the regular season. Then Fayetteville is in third place, just half a game behind Birmingham. So it's tight game. I know it's early, but it's still tight. So very competitive in this league. But Birmingham is ready for a 2-game homestand this weekend against the Macon Mayhem. So it's good to see these guys are not going to be traveling this weekend. Hopefully that gives them a little bit of time to, rest and get ready for Macon to come to town. But Friday night will be Dia de los Muertos night, as they're going to feature special Dia de los Muertos jerseys. So you can see those on the page. But it's awesome to see that. They look really great. But ready for this weekend. We will be there both nights. So stoked to see you guys there. Switching things over to the Birmingham Squadron. The Squadron released their camp roster today. And with that, the roster consists of forward Keon Brooks Jr. out of Washington. And then we've got Galen Robinson Jr. out of Houston. We also have Alfred Payne out of Louisiana. Then we also have Jalen Crutcher coming back out of Dayton, guard out of Dayton. We also have Nicholas Robinson out of Western Carolina coming back there. Brandon Boston, guard out of Kentucky. Josh Oduro, forward out of Providence. Ike Ngimbagu, center out of UCLA. Isaiah Brockington is back, guard out of Iowa State, of course. Anthony McLemore out of Auburn. E.J. Montgomery, forward out of Kentucky. Trey Jemison's back, center out of UAB. And then Trey Mitchell is back as well, guard out of South Alabama. So stoked to see that. We are working tirelessly trying to get coverage for you guys out of camp, because it did start today. We're trying to find out when we're going to be able to get there and get some coverage for you guys. So, but the the season does tip off on November 9th as the Squadron will take on the Mexico City Capitans at Legacy Arena of the BJCC. So we will be there for that. We're so stoked for this season to get started. Just love seeing basketball here in the Magic City. Switching things over to the Stallions. Last Tuesday, we found out that the Stallions had re-signed outside linebacker Malik Hall. So it's great to see him back. But there was a little bit of chaos outside of the Stallions elsewhere in the UFL. Last Monday, we found out that the Brahmas had signed former Texas A&M quarterback Kellen Mond, who I know had a short stint there with the Vikings and elsewhere throughout the league. But then on Thursday, we saw San Antonio trade their former quarterback, Quentin Dormandy, to Memphis for linebacker Jordan Ferguson. So, just crazy. It's the first trade I've seen this offseason, so stoked to see it. There's been a lot more signings lately, so we're trying to stay on top of all of that as we're getting closer to the second season of the UFL, which is less than 6 months away, guys. But in closing, we're so busy this fall trying to get into all these the squadron training camp, and then with the bull season in full swing, we're trying to get as many games in as we can there. And the Legion wound up completing their season, but we've got the squadron about to start up, and then of course all the things of the coming transactions with the Birmingham Stallions coming up, and then it won't be long till the Legion will be picking things up again, as well as the Barons. So it never ends here in the Magic City. We've got all the sports for you here at Shotgun Sports Network Alabama and the Forge Podcast. But as we get new information, we'll ensure to keep you posted on all things Birmingham sports. If we don't have a chance to post it on Facebook, make sure you guys are following us on X, because it seems to be the fastest way we can get that information out. But if you can, make sure you follow us on X. We try to post it on Facebook and X as much as possible. Sometimes it just comes out a little too fast for us to be able to get it on both within a reasonable amount of time. But until this next week, we will see you next time. Good night.